Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Lessons at Fingertips. Here we discuss on some important topics in really simple words so that it's easier for you to understand and keep things in mind. So earlier we have already discussed, we have been continuing with the same topic, that is market failure of merit good. But here today we are going to discuss a little bit extra on this, and that is the question is public provision necessary and always beneficial? Is it always necessary or always beneficial? This is the question that we are going to answer in this video. So basically this is part 2. So let's begin with the topic. You guys already know, we have discussed in our previous video that how market failure occurs in case of merit good, isn't it? Now the thing is, now we have already known that the market failure exists in the economy, especially for merit good. Therefore, to eliminate this market failure, we need to remove this market failure. What is the reason for market failure? The difference, the divergence between the marginal private benefit and marginal social benefit. That was the reason for market failure. We had this diagram like this, where there was this marginal private cost equals to marginal social cost, but the marginal private benefit used to lie below than the marginal social benefit, and this divergence was the reason for market failure. And what was this market failure? This deadweight loss was the market failure. Higher the deadweight loss, higher will be the market failure. This we have already discussed. Now to eliminate the market failure, what we need to do? We need to remove this deadweight loss. We need to do something, we need to bring some policies so that this divergence between the marginal social benefit and the marginal private benefit is eliminated. Okay, so now to do this, what happens? Government must intervene. It is the government who will intervene to correct the difference between marginal private benefit and marginal social benefit. What will government do? Government, see, there is this difference. Why is this difference occurring? Because there is not under consumption, under production as well as under consumption. Why under production? Because people, the consumers were not willing to purchase because they were not ready, they were not having the proper information, neither they were aware of the fact that what is the social benefit that is that particular merit good will be providing. So because of this, what should be the solution? That at lower price or maybe free of cost, if the goods are provided in the market, then the people will consume. Like if you tell a person to buy a health insurance for rupees 5,000, the person is not going to buy. He will say, why should I buy? But if government is giving the health insurance, if government is supplying health insurance, maybe at 500 or maybe at free of cost, then the person will definitely apply for the health insurance, isn't it? And then the society will be benefited, the social cost will be overcome. So now that is the thing, what government will do? Government will increase the supply of that particular merit good. Okay, and when government will increase the supply, what will happen? The consumption for that particular merit good will increase. People will start demanding that particular merit good. Now see, the government will increase the supply of the good, which will increase the consumption, and the government will also provide what? Subsidy. What will be the level of subsidy? To the level of deadweight loss. Yes, because deadweight loss is the amount of market failure. तो उतना ही जितना मार्केट फेलियर हो रहा है उतना ही सब्सिडी दे देंगे, तो मार्केट फेलियर नहीं होगा, है ना? So the subsidy, so that these goods are freely available. So subsidy will cause these goods to be freely available. Then only it turns those goods, we call it what? Public good. But yes, there is still this difference. Do not mix merit good which is having public provision as public good. Got it? This is very important. Do not consider it is very important to know the difference between the merit good and public good. You cannot consider a merit good which is given public provision, that is the government is providing freely as a public good, because here government is providing that particular good freely. Why? To adjust the market failure, isn't it? Not because these goods are actual में public good. Okay, these goods are merit good. How will you understand this? Because these goods, the supply of these goods are very much finite, and the private sector can actually charge price for providing better quality of this merit good. For example, if you go for this health, okay, government is providing you the public provision. Okay, there are public hospitals, government hospitals, but you see those hospitals are so much crowded. Proper facilities are not available. Ratio of doctors to patient is so less, is so high, isn't it? So problems are there. Okay, advanced technologies are not available. But if you go to the private hospitals, what is happening there? These technologies are so advanced technologies, isn't it? Why? Because they are charging the price. And why is this happening? Because the supply is finite. It's not infinite supply. Okay, education is also the same. If you go to the government schools, you will see the government tries to help the poor people, but that doesn't mean the elementary education that is given in the government school is same to that of the private school, isn't it? In private school, you have got more better facilities, isn't it? So this is what I am trying to say. It is very important to understand the difference between the merit good which is having public provision and that of the public goods, actual public goods. Got it? Now you see, this will reduce what? When government is providing the subsidy, what will happen? The cost of production for the one who is providing in the market, for the market provider will reduce. The cost of production will reduce. For whom? For the market provider, isn't it? And if the cost of production for the market provider is reducing, what does that imply? Marginal private cost is reducing, and so it will shift this side. It is shifting to the right. You see here the marginal private cost and the marginal social cost was at equilibrium, was the same. But now that government is providing subsidy, and now that the cost for the market provider has reduced, so the marginal private cost shift to the right. And now what happens is that you see this equilibrium is maintained, and you see quantity supplied, quantity of the social beneficial quantity and the private market quantity are the same. Where earlier we had what? The private quantity was here and the social quantity was here, right? This was the difference. This was the market failure. But now here the market failure has been adjusted. Let's see here. See. And the government will also provide subsidy so that these goods are freely available. This will reduce the cost of production for the market provider and shift the MPC outward, marginal private cost outward. If the subsidy is properly applied, social optimal level of output will be produced and market failure will be eliminated. See, here we have applied, market failure is eliminated. Now, here arises the question. So we have seen that is public provision necessary? Yes, it is necessary for removing the market failure. Now, is it always beneficial? What do you think? Is it always beneficial? Let's see. But only because government has intervened doesn't mean that market failure will be eliminated. Why? Because to remove the market failures, the government need to understand, government need to calculate properly how much subsidy it needs to provide. Government will have to provide subsidy equal to the deadweight loss that is occurring in the market, isn't it? And that is usually very difficult to calculate. You see here, but only because government has intervened doesn't mean market failure will be eliminated. Why? Because potentially intervention of government can worsen the failure. And why is that so? Because the success of the government will depend on the level of subsidy which again depends on the calculation of the consumption externality, which is usually very difficult. You cannot usually understand what is the level of consumption externality, because the consumption externality jitna hai utna hi subsidy dena hai. Understood? So this is very difficult to understand what is actually the level of consumption externality. The success of government will depend on the level of subsidy which again depends on the calculation of consumption externality, which is usually very difficult. So sometimes the subsidy which is provided by the government is lesser than it should have been provided. Sometimes it's more. If it's more, then what will happen? The social cost will be here and the private cost will somewhat go like this and come here. Then also there is market failure, isn't it? So as the size of deadweight loss increases, government intervention will also increase. Government will try to intervene more. It is important to not assume all merit goods as public goods even after public provision. Why? Because many merit goods have what? Finite supply. So all these can be provided by the private sector at a price. Understood? Also, if you see, as I have given you the examples about the technological facilities, higher facilities are available, better facilities are available in the private sector. Why? Because the supply is very limited for all these facilities. You need to pay a price to avail the supply. Got it? So this is all about the question that we have asked: is public provision necessary? Yes, it's necessary for the removal of market failure, but yes, it's not always beneficial. Public provision is not always beneficial because it is very much difficult to understand the consumption externality and place the subsidy accordingly, because it's the level of subsidy that is going to overcome the deadweight loss, overcome the market failure, and bring the quantity, socially optimal quantity, and the private quantity at the same position. Got it? So I hope you guys have liked this video. Please do hit a like, subscribe to my channel, share with your friends. I will come up with new such videos. Till then, bye bye.